So to Spain, Valencia taking the lead against Bilbao in the 31st minute. Penev, the Bulgarian, getting the only goal of the game, and a good victory for Valencia. Bilbao now lost 3 on the trot. The leaders Barcelona playing against Real Oviedo. Again, only 1 goal in this game. They lost last week to Deportivo, but thanks to Vaquero, ensured victory against Real Oviedo, who in fact drawn their last 2 after a disappointing start. In fact, that goal disallowed. Disappointment for Barcelona. The offside flag, though, shown. But you would have expected the margin against Oviedo to be greater than it actually was. As I mentioned, just 1 goal from this game. And Vaquero, the scorer, the ball breaking to him. This one was allowed. Certainly finished it with some style. Not been a good start to the season for Atlético Madrid. Looked to be getting even worse, actually, 5 minutes into this game against Albacete. Not won in their last 4 for Atlético Madrid. And there they were, going a goal down through Gelly, the Spanish international, 5 minutes into the game. And that's a desperate start for a team desperately short of confidence. Well, Madrid managed to get themselves back into the game. 24 minutes had gone. Oviedo on the far post. And you can see the disappointment in the reaction of the Albacete players that allowed him to sneak through. Goalkeeper really given no chance. But Albacete re-established their lead on the stroke of half-time. Menendez driving the ball through a whole cluster of Madrid players. And that was 2-1. Good volley. Well, Albacete had drawn their last 2. And I suppose this is the reason their defence at times just not really quite doing the job. And the penalty awarded. Keeper missing his kick, really. And Luis Garcia, the Mexican, with his 4th of the season, ensuring at least a point for Madrid. So to their neighbours Real Madrid, who got off to a flyer against Lleida, the bottom club. 15 minutes ago, Alfonso scoring the first goal. Real Madrid in the 11th place. Lost 3 of their first 4 games. It's just amazing the way that the 2 Madrid clubs had started the season. And in fact, things weren't really going that well for them against the bottom club until the second half, and then really they started to show what class they had. Zamorano, the Chilean, making it 2-0 just 1 minute into the second half. Lleida yet to win since winning promotion. And I'm afraid, playing against Real Madrid on days when they're firing on all cylinders like this one, not terribly pleasant an experience. Zamorano, his 2nd of the game, and that made it 3-0 after 55 minutes. Butragueño getting the ball through. And he could pick his place. But it was 4-0 3 minutes from the end. And again, Butragueño showing what skill he has at close quarters in the penalty area. Turning the defence inside out. And again picking his place. Handballed that in the last minute, and Michel made it 5. And a thumping victory for Real Madrid. Two form teams here. Real Sociedad unbeaten in 4, Racing Santander only 1 defeat in 4. With a penalty giving Real Sociedad the chance to establish a lead after 12 minutes. And it was the Bosnian Kodro given the opportunity to score the goal, having been fouled. And that was his 5th of the season. Sociedad in 3rd place, Santander in 6th. It was into the second half before Sociedad added to the lead, and this was Kodro again. Lovely skills on the ball, his 6th goal of the season, and 2-0 to Real Sociedad, the way that the game finished. This really was lovely skill on the ball, though. Keeper coming charging out, stopping, realising what he'd done. By that stage, it was too late. Good presence of mind there for Kodro. Scoops the ball up. Celta Vigo in 8th place, Logroñés in 14th, but Celta, really the form team of these two, moved up to 8th after a run of 4 games unbeaten, and in the 58th minute, Pachi Salinas making it 1-0. They often say that when you score, that's the time when you're most vulnerable, but Celta Vigo showed that that's not necessarily the case, because right from the kickoff, they swept up the field again. Just 1 minute had elapsed, and Gudeli in the right place at the right time to make it 2-0. Bosnian once again in good position, and that extends Celta's run. Osasuna against Valladolid. That goal not allowed. Offside against Gilbert. Polish international. In the end, he accepts it with good grace. But in fact, when the ball was kicked, you have to say he looked pretty well onside. Not a brilliant decision, that. Gilbert in a good run of goal-scoring form for his new club, having signed from Montpellier. But they only won their first game of the season last week, beating Bilbao 2-1. When Marino in the 73rd minute put Osasuna on the way to their second victory. Languishing in 19th place in the table against Valladolid, only a few places above them. In fact, only scored 1 goal in the last 5 games, so not exactly representing the most formidable challenge. And 2 minutes on the end, Gilbert, the man who was denied in the first half, got his revenge. What a cracker it was too. His 4th goal of the season, a smashing way to ensure victory for Osasuna. The man can play. Well, I know that some Aston Villa fans will be watching this action very closely. Deportivo winning their latest game, but thanks only to an own goal. Solana, the man unfortunately credited with an own goal after 66 minutes against Zaragoza. Deportivo continuing their run. Last week, of course, they beat Barcelona. And they go to Villa 1-1 after the first leg in the UEFA Cup. Sporting Gijón in 9th place against Rayo, 1 place below them. The Sporting Gijón going down, having not won in their last 4 games. Penalty claims abounding at one end of the field. Nothing given. But after a while, there's something which a man has to do, and that referee was coming under so much pressure, he had to give the penalty in the end. Methinks that the player made the most of it. Muniz, though, picked himself up and scored after 32 minutes. And that was Sporting Gijón in the lead by 1-0. Just 1 minute remained in the game when they finally sealed the victory. Stanic, the scorer, 2-0 victory for Sporting Gijón. So to Seville against Tenerife. In 7th and 8th places respectively. Seville only 1 defeat in the season. And going into the lead after 6 minutes, Moya, the Spanish international, getting the goal against the Tenerife side, unbeaten in their last 3 games. Especially difficult side to play against in Tenerife. Just wobbling a bit though on their travels. They had a man sent off to Tenerife, and that couldn't have helped them as Seville mounted a second half charge. 73 minutes gone, Ferreira making it 2-0. And there was no real way back for Tenerife after that, struggling with their 10 men. And defensive flaws now being shown up by a Seville side who are sweeping the length of the field. Croat Suka scoring the 3rd goal. And that was after 78 minutes. Lovely skills this by Suka. Taking the ball inside, picking his spot. And 6 minutes from the end, Suka added his 7th goal of the season. Now in fact the top scorer in the Spanish league. And Seville putting together a pretty useful team, and I think probably better for the absence of Diego Maradona. And Suka firing the ball home. 4-0 to Seville. And all the results then from Spain.